Oh, Dr. Janda talks about his podcasts and his subscriptions. It's only $9. I subscribed. He's one of the better inside reporters that we've got. There's only about four or five that I actually always go to and videotape off. I've even got away from InfoWars because he's a little psycho in some of the stuff he does. But Dr. Janda is really up there, and Janda is really up there, and he really knows his stuff. He knows that the media is more than fake. He knows it's more than propaganda. But this thing with them coming out and saying that Trump's State of the Union address was 76 approval rating is mind blowing because they would have never said that before. You got to understand that Trump is getting at some of these mainstream media groups and the elite people that are pushing their crap uh, legally, through military or through subpoenas, through sealed indictments, and through the military tribunals.
Great guests across the board. We hit some very important information with a number of those guests, actually all the guests, but in particular I want to focus on three of the guests.
Now, Dr. Jen is talking about his Sunday podcast, and I got to go back and look at that podcast. I got to learn how to use podcasts. There are a section that I'm not getting to that are more influential, more up class, more financially secure, and more powerful source of buyers that I need to be getting to. Anyhow, here goes.
Dr. Jane Hughes, in particular we talk about the hazards of Obamacare, about how patient confidentiality is destroyed with Obamacare. This is information that will never be presented in the bought-off lamestream fake media. Why? Because look at how much money the insurance industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the medical industrial complex, such as the AMA, funnel into each one of those media platforms. It's enormous. And with that funneling of money comes suppression of information. Obamacare did enormous harm in many respects. But one of the reasons why I retired on January 1st, 2017 is because starting January 1st, 2017, the electronic medical records protocols gained further inroads, teeth. With Obamacare, as a practicing physician, you not only have to turn over the patient's diagnosis codes and information to insurance companies, but you're also, as pointed out in Dr. Hughes's interview, your patient records become accessible to the government 24/7 at their discretion.
Boy, what a bunch of crap. It's just disgusting how the corporations are just screwing us over right and left. Let's get on with here. I want to get into something else too. And I'll give you a link to sign up to his stuff. It is powerful. You can't get this stuff anywhere else.
The Brits and the United States and their intelligence agencies and in their national security agencies that do all the listening. It's a very important conversation. And Harley presents significant information about the extent that this British influence has on our country and on the world. It's not pretty, but you need to know about it. Pulitzer Prize. She dissects.
So that's not pretty. The intel and information, the influence from the Brits, not only through the world banks, but through the intel information, spying information, is not nice. I have no doubt about that. Let's move on here.
Actually moving out of Syria willingly. And again, this is a situation that has been constructed behind the scenes between Russian officials who are very supportive of Assad and officials from the United States. Now, every day, almost every day, we're hearing that the lamestream media is melting. that there are layoffs by the hundreds occurring. That's true. I did a little digging on this, and I think it's important for you to know a little bit of the background, and just so you have an idea why this is happening. This headline, a media industry loses about 1,000 jobs as layoffs hit news organizations. This week reaffirmed just how dire things have gotten within the industry, with about 1,000 jobs in media lost as the result of layoffs announced at BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, and Gannett. The nation's largest newspaper chain, BuzzFeed, announced this past Wednesday it would lay off 15% of its workforce. Verizon announced it would cut 7% of its workforce from its media division, which includes brands like the Huffington Post, AOL, Yahoo News, and also Gannett slashed dozens of jobs at newspapers across the country. Then we get the headline, this from Zero Hedge, digital media bloodbath continues. New Vice, that's the name of the company, Vice CEO cuts now 10% of its staff. Following mass layoffs at BuzzFeed, the Huffington Post, Gannett, and Verizon Media Group this past week, Vice Media has become the latest trendy new media darling to announce deep cuts to staffing levels. The cuts, which will be distributed across all departments at every level, will total roughly 10% of the company's workforce.
All right, so major media is being cut. They're going after them legally and otherwise. That's great news. It's about time.
September 17, 2018, when he not only recommended, he actually stated, certain documents need to be declassified. The FISA warrants of Carter Page, the text messages between McCabe and Comey, and the 302 forms, which have been filled out by the FBI when they interviewed Bruce Orr, the fourth highest official in the Justice Department under Obama. He put that out, and then all of a sudden, he was approached by Department of Justice officials. It was determined that, well, the Department of Justice should look through these documents before they are released. Now, granted, they had had years to look through those documents. This is where Sessions slow-walked the documents. There was a window of opportunity that needed to be, that these documents needed to come forward. Sessions slow-walked, and when he slow-walked them, he gave the deep state an opportunity to put into the works a counter move to Trump declassifying. When Trump declassifies, the deep state is going to counter. Sessions, by slow walking it, gave the deep state a chance to develop a plan. That's why, as I understand it, Sessions' letter of resignation was put forward, implemented. The question is why hasn't President Trump, who holds all the cards about declassification, he could do it today. Why hasn't he? Well, as I understand it, he hasn't because he is trying to negate the counter moves that the deep state will take when he declassifies. When he declassifies, it's going to open up Pandora's box. It's going to be big. And the deep state is going to do everything in their power to save their own skin, but they're also going to do everything in their power to divert people's attention away from the facts that are present in the declassification documents. Read that as the deep state plans on a false flag event.
All right, we're going to end it there because this is most important, and he's not the only one stating this. Several authoritative sources have stated that the deep state will do a major false flag event to divert the information and the interest and the focus on this declassification when it comes out. I don't know what it's going to be, but they're in the stages right now of planning what it's going to be. The media will cover it fully. There'll be a big event like 9/11. It'll be big. I don't know that we're going to get towers coming down. I don't know if we're going to get bombings. I don't know if we're going to get shootings or a combination of things or some major cataclysmic social unrest thing. I don't know, but it will be big enough to draw all the media's attention to it. So I'll just warn you in advance that when this does happen, it means that declassification is out, and we need to focus on it and shy away from the propaganda of the major media. And we will this time. We're set up this time that we will. And so just be prepared, stay on track, and know that it's coming. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day.